My name's David Smith. I work for David Smith Upholstry, which is my business. I'm a sole trader along with my wife. I am basically the designer, labourer, upholsterer, cutter, all the way through. My wife works in the offices for me, and we deal direct with the public or private clients who come to us. And we work in Long Eaton, which is basically the centre of the universe as far as upholstery is concerned.
So when you come in the morning, can you talk me through your day? What happens?
Oh, my day, I bring the dogs to work, so I tend to go out, take the dogs out for a walk first thing, come back in, and then that's it. It's dealing with everything from emailing my clients who are sent overnight to you know, doing the actual upholstery, the cutting, the machining. I do that sometimes. The only thing I won't do is cushions, because I've got a machinist, qualified machinist, who works for me much quicker than I am at doing cushions, so I let her do that. But everything else we basically do on site in the building, and that is it, you know.
If someone didn't know what an upholsterer was,
right,
can you tell me exactly what does an upholsterer do?
Upholsterer is it can be many things. Usually it's the making of furniture, three-piece suites, that kind of, you know, that kind of headboards, footstools, that kind of thing. It's the covering, getting a bare frame, being able to build it up, cover it. But my job tends to be, it's changing slightly, because I'm now sort of doing panels on walls for clients covered in leather, wardrobe doors upholstered. I think the fashion's now changing very much, where people are wanting to see quite a lot of different looks to their house. You know, interiors is big business at the minute. People who have got money really like spending the money as well, so it's quite fortunate that I've got into that market. But it is the general description of upholsterer is somebody who covers a bare frame to make a seating, you know, and the three-piece suite.
Okay, and what are some of the good and bad points about your job?
Good points. I personally love my job. I love dealing with the public. It's a different spectrum when you're working in a factory. It's a different ball game altogether, because it is working on piecework. When you're working in a factory, you're generally working on piecework, where you have to really work. It's hard work, very hard work. It's physical work, but it's quite rewarding. If you stick to a good quality, it's quite rewarding when you see the finished product. That's what's quite nice. And fortunately, with me being on my own as well now, self-employed, I've been sort of 24 years now, I've been self-employed. I love dealing with the public. I go out to do the quotes, I go out picking the piece of furniture up, do the job, take it back. So I see it right through from beginning to the end, same every day. I mean, I'll have one piece that's an antique one day, a leather piece the next day, something completely different the next day. So it's always changing.
So if a young person was leaving school today, or someone was planning on going to university, but they was thinking, I'd like to be an upholsterer, what are the qualifications that they need to take, or what practical advice could you offer them? What should they do?
I suppose it's a different kind of thing, because upholstery is not sort of classed as like you know, an academic kind of study or anything like that. You really need to. It's getting in with a factory. You need to start. You need to go into a factory, start off, try and get an apprenticeship. Which I doubt if you. That's the only problem now. Nobody as I know of are taking apprenticeships on. The best way to go into it is to go as a labourer, get into the place, start learning the trade from that point. Go to your employer and saying, if you employ me, would there be any possibility of moving up into sort of like learning upholstery as well? Most of them like to do that, to be fair. I mean, one or two of the companies I've sort of dealt with in the past do like to sort of train people up as they go along. But making a commitment now as far as going to college and an apprenticeship, a lot of companies at the minute are, obviously with the recession as such, are not doing that. But I'm not saying that they won't do it in the future, because I think somewhere along the line, if the trade's got to keep going, then they're going to have to do training, because, you know, I mean...
Because where would they learn that craft then?
Exactly, yeah. Most of the people I know now in the trade are sort of in the 40s, 50s. You don't tend to get very young people in it, because there's not, you know, the jobs aren't there at the minute in the factories. Yeah. It tends to be going to be able to learn upholstery. You need to, you start at the very basics. And the big factories used to be there where you could get an apprenticeship. they don't tend to be setting on. So it's difficult to get into a factory at the minute. Most people probably would be better off ringing sort of small companies such as myself and asking if there was any chance of learning, going on some kind of apprenticeship or some kind of trainee system. That's probably the best way of getting into it, definitely.
So there's no qualifications that you actually need?
No, it's not like you're going to need to get A levels or anything like that. You're working with your hands, basically. That's what it is. It's learning a skill. No qualifications, to be honest with you, can give you that. You've either got it or you haven't, to be honest.
Okay. So if you had a client today that came to you, how does the process work? So they've rang you.
Yeah, client would come in, depending on what they want. I mean, the idea of this small showroom I've got is to say to people, look, this is just an idea. This is a range of furniture I've put together. It's not our full range. On our website, we've got our range is your imagination, basically. And if somebody's got an idea, they come in, see me. They can, if they've got a good eye for drawing or anything like that, then show me. I mean, we did have a guy came in to see me a couple of years ago, and he basically said to me, "I'm looking for a sofa," and I said, "Right, what kind?" He says, "I don't know," and I said, "Have you got any ideas at all?" And he says, "I've thought about an S-shaped arm," and I said, "Right, okay," and we sat down for a couple of hours, and we just talked and talked and talked, and I started to get a bit of a drawing going while I was talking to him, and in the end we developed a three-piece suite for him. Very, very big. He was a 6'5" guy. He wanted something very tall, very oversized, and we were able to do it for him, and we developed it, and it was quite a nice piece of furniture when it was all done, but it was very unique, very different, very elaborate, and but it's listening to what people say. And that's what we do. We get them in. They give us an idea. We taught them what we've sort of picked up off them. We go through fabrics. I will then go out and measure their homes and the entrances to the homes. That's an important thing, because a lot of people tend to think, "Oh, I like that. I like the size of it." You get it to the house, you can't get it in. So if they do like the size of the sofa, then we can develop it into a bolt where the arms come off, and we can bolt them and make it so that we can assemble it in their house, so it's easy access. But you need to know them kind of things first. So it's quite an involved process. It's not just a matter, "Oh yeah, that's that piece I like, take it away," kind of thing. We do. It's virtually nurturing it right from the very idea what they've got and going right through to the finish. It is an industry where you don't really need a lot of space, because I started working from my own garage, and as long as I could get something in the garage, that's how I started off, and I did that for probably about 5 or 6 years, which is low. You don't need a great overheads or anything like that. And again, a machinist can work it from home in a spare room, work from home, and there's always people doing jobs on the side and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, it's a little bit the taxman don't know about it as such, but sometimes that's
needs must sometimes.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, it's a trade that if you're known as upholsterer, it's one of those things your family tend to ask you, your friends tend to ask you, and it goes around like that. So, but yeah, it's quite if women can get into this industry quite well in some form.
Yeah, and on a practical level, because the way the climate is now with work and people saying, "Oh, there's hardly any jobs out there," should young people be disheartened if they want to go out there and get a job? What should they be doing then?
You've really got to keep phoning companies up and try, because you need to be in that environment. You can't just sort of decide, like, I'm going to be an upholsterer, I'm going to learn it. You can I suppose you could go to college. That's one way of doing it, because if you went to college, evening classes.
And what would you be learning? What courses would you be doing at college?
You can get upholstery classes.
Oh, right, okay.
You can get that, because I know quite a few people who have done that, to get the basic skills. And especially if you've got the basic skills to start with, like going to college, evening class, learn it, you can go to a factory and say, "Look, I've done this, would you be interested?" And if they are looking for people, then you're going to be at the top of the list on that, I would have thought, because you've already got a basic skill, and in a way they can exploit that as well. It's saving them money in training you, and they can go from there, and try and nurture it even further. So yeah.